year, it's a great season for seasonal foods, but it's also a great time to think about how to make gifts for people. Rita, good morning.
Well, good morning, and I'm just loving starting our annual Gift from the Kitchen series.
Well, we get to use some Bible foods and herbs in the process, and there is definitely a flavor associated with the season, from candy canes to everything else. Mint is certainly in the Bible.
Oh, it is, and again, like you said, just such a popular flavor this time of year, Matt. We have a very familiar passage in Luke in chapter 11 about him talking about mint being one of the tithing herbs. I think that's so interesting. But here's the deal. The Hebrews, Greeks, and Romans choose mint leaves for digestion. So it's not only a great flavoring, it's good for your digestion and headaches, and it's a great medicinal herb as well.
Well, why don't you talk about the differences between spearmint and peppermint then?
Well, I think, to me now, I want your opinion on this. I think spearmint has a sweeter taste and aroma. I think you could substitute it in salads and even some candy. Now, peppermint's essential oil, Matt, is real strong. I mean, you'll notice it right away. And they can both be used in teas, but if you go to the store and look for a mint tea, it's probably going to be peppermint. I think that's the most popular. Do you have a favorite?
I like spearmint. Um, I think it goes really well in tea, but it's hard to beat a good peppermint bark, as we're going to discuss here in just a little bit. That being said, you mentioned peppermint essential oil. When it comes to mint, and well, actually, when it comes to anything, what's the difference between an extract or an oil? If I'm going to be trying to use something in a recipe.
Oh, good point. Well, extracts are made with alcohol, and it's like an infusion process. And then the oil is distilled actually from the essential oils in the leaves, Matt. Either one will work in this recipe for the bark, but here's again a tip. Oil is more potent, and if you do use peppermint oil, I always say buy it in the bakery section to make sure it's a pure peppermint oil and not maybe just a fragrance oil. The extract is more available, so you could use either one. If you're going to use extract, you're going to use a little more than the oil.
So that is a very important point. I didn't even think until you mentioned it that somebody might be looking for peppermint oil for a recipe and go into the household cleaner section and get like a peppermint flavored, like one of those plug-in things.
Yes, that's so true. Or one of those, they have little vials and you put a wooden, like a skewer in it. So yeah,
Oh,
just
like
be
the
careful.
diffusers and those things.
Right,
All that
yeah.
stuff. All right, well, you've got a peppermint bark recipe, and this is a great gift to give. Again, nobody needs more stuff. I mean, a few people do, but most people don't need more stuff, and this is a great recipe. I think the most important part of this recipe is how you melt the chocolate, because that is an easy thing to get wrong if you're not familiar with what you're doing. But how does this peppermint bark recipe work?
Oh, it's pretty easy.